Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to express my sincere condolences to the McDonald family, and I would like to thank Senator Kaminsky and Senator Flanagan and all of my colleagues for this really important and wonderful resolution. I was listening to the text, and I couldn't help but be somewhat overwhelmed at listening in its entirety and listening to this amazing story of this incredible human being, a person who comes from a legacy of service to our communities. I'm sure he never intended to be a hero, but he intended to protect the lives of New Yorkers, and he did that. Amazingly, after what he went through, and I'm old enough to remember this story. I grew up in the 70s in the South Bronx, and I represent the South Bronx and East Harlem and other neighborhoods, and I understand the challenges that we faced over the years. Amazingly, after the ordeal, in 1986, Detective McDonald, instead of becoming bitter and angry, as many of us, I think, would be inclined to do, instead he continued to open his heart and never lost faith in the communities that he patrolled, never lost faith in the people. He showed without a shadow of a doubt that even though we've been taught in our lives that strength is maybe as hard as we can hit or as much as we can impose, he proved something that is so important, and that is there is nothing more powerful in this world and in our lives than love and forgiveness. And in his example of love and forgiveness, he, in many ways, changed the world. And he did so in a way that was tireless, and he worked so hard to achieve that. And I'll leave you with this one little tidbit. My wife and I are raising two young children. My son just turned 11 last week. My daughter is 5 years old. Now, remember when my son was about 5, we walked into a diner, and there were 2 police officers, NYPD, by the counter, and my son seemed a little nervous because he saw the uniforms and the sidearms. And I told him, I said, don't be afraid. Say hi. And he did, and the police officers were so gracious and talked to my son. And I told him, I said, never be afraid. These folks are willing to lay down their life for you. And it was such an important story that I wanted him to get at a young age, to understand what police officers do, not just in New York City, but everywhere. They are willing to protect you at all costs. So I want to thank the McDonald family for all that they've done and their continued legacy of service in this very important resolution. Thank you.